Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 226th episode of the Voluntary Viewing podcast, recorded on July 17th, 2023. I'm Lucas DeRuyter, and, capitalism, maybe not so bad, because let me tell you, when you have a resource rendered scarce artificially, feels pretty good.
Yeah. What's your resource?
I have a Blue Sky invite code.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that capitalism?
I don't know.
I think that's just like weird gatekeeping. Like, I don't know.
Isn't that a lot of what capitalism is? Aren't we being gate kept? Shouldn't we cancel landlords for gatekeeping homes?
I've said
yes.
Weird gatekeeping.
Yeah.
That's like, regular old gatekeeping.
It's not capitalism. It's got elements of it in the way that capitalism also has elements of, fraud and that kind of shit in there.
Isn't Blue Sky the type of platform?
Behavior?
The type of platform that wouldn't, like, if there was like some fucking billionaire asshole, and they'd be like, yeah, you wish you could get a Blue Sky invite code. Like, no, wait till all the other plebs get access. Like, it's almost like a weird form of anti-capitalism a little bit. I don't know.
There is, boy, I'm about to date myself significantly with this reference. There is a little bit of a Cartman Land effect going on, where I do think, a bunch of people going back to Twitter to be like, wow, this place really sucks compared to Blue Sky. Sorry, don't have any codes, gang, is like driving up a lot of people's interest in Blue Sky. That's as Twitter is rapidly crumbling. Promoting this podcast has actively become harder now that we have to pay for TweetDeck. We're not fucking paying for TweetDeck.
There you go.
Anyway,
Blue Sky's good.
Yeah. I enjoy it. It's a lot of queer people adjacent to tech, and that's very fun for me. That's like,
so Blue Sky's gay Twitter?
Pretty much. Take that, Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I have experienced what it's like to be addicted to Twitter, where I've spent just an exorbitant amount of time on that app per day. And recently, aided by the fact that Twitter is crumbling and is even worse than it used to be, which was already bad, I've reduced my Twitter time per day from an hour and a half to 2.5 hours a day a year ago to 10 minutes a day. I'm not on Twitter anymore, and it feels good. I don't want to replace that with another social media addiction. I really don't want to be like that anymore. So I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
Your cautionary tale could have been hyperbolized a little bit, because it's like, dude, I was on this app for an hour a day. Fuck, man, my life was
it was 2 hours a day.
You said hour. You started with hour and a half, and I'm being hyperbolic.
Well, so I worked my way back.
Not good.
I worked my way back. At one point I was averaging 2.5, maybe 3 hours a day at the height of the pandemic. And I was like, whoa, that's too much. I worked it down to 2 hours. Then I set an app limit on my phone for an hour and 15 minutes, routinely just maxed that out, and then would hit the ignore the block and just keep using it. And then I found an app that let me set time limits for the apps in a different way, and would penalize you for opening it up each time. And then I was just like, no, I'm not going to open it up now. And
it's big, Christian boys, on the internet, you read all about it now, Christian teenagers that are like, dude, my pornography addiction, my youth pastor's talking to me about it. And it's just it's out of control. I don't know, man, 2-3 times a week I have to, and it's just all right, maybe you don't have to freak out about that, maybe more than you'd want to do it, but all right, man, you're fine. Don't freak out.
That's wow. That is so much less than I masturbated as a teenager.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Yeah, no,
wow.
yeah.
just like the scale being so off, and it's like that's cool if like that's more than you would want to do it, but like also I don't think you should be like white faced like holy
This is
shit,
not a
man.
problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're not the same as a junkie tying off in a bathroom stall. Like you're
Yeah. It's
you're
like the way
fine.
that doctors talk about alcohol usage, which fair because like any alcohol usage is not good. But like if you I remember once, so like, do you have like how much do you drink alcohol? And I was like, I don't know, like a few times a week. And they're like, wait, you have a drink of alcohol every week? And I
Oh,
was like,
What?
I guess, yeah. And they marked me as like high alcoholism risk. I was like, whoa, 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 whoa. No, 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 no,
yeah.
no, no.
They're like, Clark, is that English? And they're
Yeah.
just like hovering over the high alcoholism risk. Like,
Was your dad a redhead
yeah.
by chance?
Well, I
Are
mean,
Yeah.
you
Ooh.
Catholic?
I mean, it is now that Northern Ireland was separated from Ireland Classic because of the Troubles, so
Ireland
technically English.
classic. Same great taste, new bold flavor. Ireland classic. Yeah.
And then
New Ireland.
the one other thing I want to shout out about Blue Sky right now using it is that I'm seeing some shit on there. I'm seeing some patterns of behavior that are very reminiscent of like not early Twitter, but like when I got on Twitter in like probably 2012, of people like like gimmick accounts just following me and mass following other people, because that's how you used to be able to get a following on Twitter. You just followed everyone, and if like a tenth of them followed you back, that's enough to potentially hit an algorithm with one banger, and then that just has to happen 10 more times, and then you're golden.
And then
Yeah.
your drill or whatever the fuck. Yeah.
We'll get
No.
to it later, but Drill posted for the first time on Blue Sky to say he will not be posting on Blue Sky because of some drama that happened on that platform. But
Fucking drill.
that's coming
Piece of
later.
shit. Yeah. I've been on Twitter since '08 because I wasn't allowed to be on Facebook. So I got on Twitter.
Like
which was totally good.
Here to tell us about how the fuck that happened, Ryan Holtz. Did your parents not let you have a Facebook, or
yeah, they didn't want me on Facebook. They probably
Okay.
heard some sort of weird, scare tactic, fear mongering news stuff about like there's so many child predators on Facebook, just adding your kids and blah 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 blah. And it's like, yeah, but also all your friends are on
Yeah.
there, and you're gonna be a social outcast if you don't. So yeah, no, I got on fucking Twitter, baby. And then when I actually was allowed to finally have Facebook, I remember being like, anyone on Twitter? And everyone was like, no. And I was like, oh, all right. Guess it's just me.
It was kind of interesting how there was, I mean, it's almost like a console wars thing of, yeah, you had to find people who were on like your social media platform of choice because no one was willing to jump between them, at least not that I experienced.
Yeah, in the early days, it was definitely like that. High school Twitter became like the norm. Like
Right.
when Facebook started dying, when all the grandparents got on it, like it was like everyone went to Twitter for like their actual social media. And then like Insta was for pictures, Snapchat was for seeing who was talking to who and who was cheating on their girlfriend. And
Yeah.
because best friends was still a feature, the greatest, most out of pocket
I can't believe they
social
took
media
that away.
feature of all time.
It's just not
Snapchat's
fair.
stock price would be through the fucking moon right now if they still had public best friends. That was the greatest shit of all time. That might have been the single most used social media feature of my entire life. Sometimes if I was bored, I would just go through every single Snapchat friend I had and see who their three best friends were and just like compare and contrast and find fun patterns and be like, ooh, feel like I got some tea here. And then you confront your buddy about it and he'd be like, yeah, it like glitched. Like, dude, we snapped for like an hour, like one night, and it's like glitched, and now like she's in my top 3. I don't, this is such bullshit, dude. Like, and it's like, sure.
God, the character interaction map slowly unweaving before you. I love it.
In a way that it will never be duplicated.
No.
We'll never again know everyone's pissed. Can you imagine if like iMessage did a version of that?
Oh,
Like, who are you sending the most text to? And it was public. Like there'd be chaos. Like society would crumble.
so I know that Snapchat still exists. I mean, I have it. I use it like very seldomly. Was there a replacement for Snapchat for that same purpose of, sending messages that are very discreet and, probably nudes, and then also texts you don't want your girlfriend to see, but then also just like to like bullshit with people that you know?
WhatsApp, I think.
WhatsApp.
I know
like,
some regions WhatsApp is like the default, but yeah.
But I mean, it's the same as Facebook Messenger, right? Like, just
not really.
Not on Facebook.
It's like cooler.
Yeah.
It's got a lot more integrations and like and different features that Facebook Messenger doesn't necessarily have.
I think
they
you can
bought
like
into
create your own like emojis, your own reacts.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Stickers.
That's right.
Sticker culture, baby.
Not necessarily a replacement, but this was a competitor that I think was also a Kick. Kick is also still around for those purposes.
I feel like Kick has
really?
a very specific purpose.
Yeah,
I know Kick
why.
is for sketchy shit.
Yeah, Kick is not for above board stuff.
No.
That's for sure. WhatsApp is much more legitimate.
I was going to say Kick is for sexting and drug dealers, but man, what are drug dealers on now that they've either had to like not be drug dealers, that weed is legal most places, or elevate to hard shit?
Elevate to hard
I don't know.
shit. All
Same
the weed
here.
drug dealers, fucking Morpheus gave them two pills. Elevate to hard shit, not be drug dealer. And just like, oh my god, what am I gonna do?
Well, I guess I could finish that computer science degree or start selling meth.
Yeah. It's either black tar heroin from some fucking cartel or
Customer service.
yeah, fucking retail. Goddamn. That is a rough choice.
It is.
Like, I feel for those people, unironically.
Morpheus, like, seriously, either one I get, they've got their pros and cons.
I'm not going to judge you either way. The original Morpheus is like, there's a very clear answer. This Morpheus is like, I don't know, man. If you ask me for advice, I don't know what I'd tell you. It's pretty fucking rough out there.
Hey, listen, in this economy, you finish that degree, you get out there, you get a 9 to 5, you're still going to need a side hustle, man. You still might be selling drugs on the side to pay off those student loans.
Yeah.
Also on the podcast, to tell us what he replaced that social media time with, it's Andrew Clark.
Honestly, I couldn't tell you. I don't know. I don't know where probably just Googling stuff. Like, I'm reading more. I am reading more. I'm reading again, which is nice. I'm not reading a ton. I'm what?
What are you reading?
Just fiction. I'm not reading no nonfiction bullshit.
What is the title of a book you have read in the last month?
Right now, I'm reading a book called 3 Miles Down.
Okay.
By Harry Turtledove. I'm sure that's not his real name. And it's like an alternate history novel from the 70s about, which I didn't know about. There was a CIA spy ship. What?
I think that's his real name.
No, yeah.
At the very least, they don't. They list pen names.
Yeah, I saw that he had a
Harry
couple.
Turtledove.
Oh, okay.
Also, dude, you look at this mofo and you're like, shit, that looks like a Harry Turtledove.
Yeah, he does look like a Harry Turtledove. That's for sure. It's like an alternate story of like the CIA ship from the 70s that like had this giant weird cover to go retrieve a sunken Soviet submarine in the middle of the Pacific. That was like one of the most expensive government operations ever. But in this story, it was an alien spaceship.
Oh.
That sunk a submarine. And it's just kind of like a fun, weird mix between like woo, wacky sci-fi and like hardcore spy thriller. Reading a lot of old mystery books, some random sci-fi bullshit, just kind of alternating between the two. Read some Agatha Christie, read some more Philip Marlowe books, still kind of racist.
You didn't get better? You didn't
No,
see the light
not
towards
super
the end?
progressive.
Interesting.
I read some more Jeff Vandermeer, the guy that wrote Annihilation.
To be clear,
those
did Philip Marlowe get any more racist, or did he
no,
locked
not
it
more
in?
racist.
Okay.
Just it would pop up every now and then and be like, ooh,
Well, that's right.
Oh,
This guy's racist.
a little Marlowe special. Okay.
Yeah, the old Marlowe's trickaroo. Oh, by the way, they list on his Wikipedia, Turtledove published his first two novels under the pseudonym Eric Iverson. He later explained that the editor did not think people would believe that his real name was Turtledove, so he came up with something more Nordic. Like they were like, they would think it's a fake name and judge you for picking that fake name.
It does sound like a BoJack Horseman character. Like if they mention like, oh, I gotta go meet up with Harry Turtledove later, and then like it was either
just a Jewish
turtle
guy.
man or a
I think that
Okay,
they immigrated, they were Jewish, they chose the name Turtledove, and there you go. Then his name was Harry.
I mean, listen,
Parents a little unfortunate. Like if your last name is a noun, you should not name your kid Harry. Like
no,
it can't be an adjective.
Automatically gonna flow into each other. Yeah. When you first said that you were reading fiction and we were at our height of suspecting, I don't know what you were doing with your free time. I pictured there's a bit in Parks and Rec where they're working for a politician and the chief of staff of the politician is talking about how awesome it is to work with the politician because like they go out on stage, they nail it, they do whatever, and then they go into a room and they just sit there and stare at the wall like a robot that gets paraded out. So that's what I picture is you do your Twitter for 10 minutes and then you're like, well, that's too much Twitter, like swipe it away and then just sit still on the couch.
Yeah, inactive mode.
Yeah, just staring at a wall, just like Twitter is unhealthy for me. As you're doing literally nothing. So
yeah, also Legend of Zelda. Put like 100 hours in that.
That's that. Beat it?
No. I have been kind of holding off on the final boss fight for the last like 10 hours. So I think I'm ready to go now.
Okay. We'll get to that. We'll get to that after we cover some news. Courts deny the FTC's motion for a preliminary injunction against Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard, meaning the merger is set to move forward in the US, though the antitrust case against the merger is still open. The judge's reasoning for siding with Microsoft here is that the company totes promise to be chill and not do any of that cray monopoly shit.
Yeah.
We
swearsies.
They said... The judge was like, well, Microsoft said they'd put Call of Duty on other platforms for 10 years, ignoring that when AT&T and Time Warner merged together, they promised in court that we're not going to raise prices for customers. And I think they raised prices for customers before they got everyone on the same email. Like that was the first thing they did.
Yeah. Or the fucking net neutrality when it was finally killed. Just like they promised that they'd regulate themselves. It's like, cool. What?
That's a made up thing.
Literally, what? How does that mean anything to you?
What were you thinking? You sold a gun to a 9-year-old. He said he wasn't going to do anything weird with it.
Yeah. Said it's great. Don't worry about it. Except for a 9-year-old's too innocent. Like it would have to be like, you sold a gun to a guy who's already shot a bunch of people and said, like, give me the gun. I promise I won't go right outside and shoot a bunch more people. Like it's actually much worse than a 9-year-old.
I'm not gonna lie. You tell me a 9-year-old, like I hear the phrase a 9-year-old promised not to do anything weird with a gun. My mind goes to a 9-year-old juggling like 3 guns. Like
That's not very safe.
No,
That's not as bad.
That's also a weird thing to do with a gun, including
Yeah.
using it as a 9-year-old.
I'd take that 9-year-old's gun away if I saw him juggling that gun with 2 other guns that I don't know how he got them. That is weird.
You get one. I feel like they're like ants. You know, you see one and it's like, well, there are a couple other just around now.
You know, the 9-year-old went into that gun store and was like, I want to buy a gun, but if I just buy one gun, that's suspicious. I got to buy 3 so they know I'm not up to anything.
Exactly. If you give a mouse a cookie, if you give a 9-year-old a Beretta.
Also, this judge's kid works at Microsoft. Like
Classic.
Why not?
She has family that materially benefits from this merger going through, which feels like that is a recusable circumstance, in my opinion. Not a lawyer, but
I mean, no, it is. It is like a watchdog. I mean, you got the notes in here, demanded that they recuse themselves. I mean, welcome to the American legal system. There's a lot of things wrong with it. Not a small part of it is corporate corruption. It is rigged. It's just rigged. I don't know how to tell you anything other than it doesn't work because it wasn't made to.
There's no part of the American like governmental system, America as a concept, that you realize how much of this is standing on good faith and people like not abusing the rights they've been given than in the court system, than in the judiciary system, because God, that's changed so much over the course of our lifetimes, where judges are just being blatantly political. Like, it is no longer where where legislation that has been written into law is proved or like litmus tested or stress tested. It is where interested bodies can actively push through the change and the corruption that they want to see in the world by bodying the courts. And like, this isn't as bad as that. This isn't as bad as a Supreme Court deciding that like businesses don't have to acknowledge gay people in any capacity.
I mean, and then also, I mean, the scandal that's racking the Supreme Court of, it turns out the conservative judges, I mean, probably the liberal judges too, but definitely the conservative judges are all literally on the take from billionaires.
The least corrupt one is like an actual rapist, apparently.
Yeah.
Kavanaugh's
Kavanaugh hasn't had the time to establish the like intense corruption.
Yeah.
He will, because he'll be on that court for the next 40 years.
Kavanaugh's the perfect man. He's our fucking Harvey Dent. We're all holding out hope for Brett Kavanaugh. No, I mean, you guys are both poli-sci students, so you can probably speak better to it than I could. But like you said, Andrew, it's a broken system, kind of intentionally. Like, that's kind of what common law is. Like, it's designed to like, everyone's trying to rat fuck each other. And like, if everyone's trying to rat fuck each other, then like it kind of gets an equilibrium where we get justice, right? And it's like, what? Who thought that makes any sense? Like, if everyone just really tries to screw over one another as hard as they can, then game theory will win out and everyone will get a compromise. It's like, what planet is that where we arrived?
I mean, the Supreme Court operates in one of 2 ways at any given moment. The first one is taking precedent that was written 200 plus years ago for like at word value, taking like sentence by sentence precedent so literally that nothing could potentially have any sort of relevance in today's society, and extrapolating that to laws that affect us, or making up everything.
Yeah.
And those are the 2 ways that the court operates. It's either, this guy in 1748 in England did this thing and said this law should not exist or should work in this way. So that's the closest precedent we have. We're going to use that here. Or What if you had 20 apples and your boss said, go buy more apples, and you bought 1,000 apples? That would be too much. The government can't limit emissions. Like that's how the fucking court system works.
So much more of America as a concept made sense to me in I forget the intro to poli-sci class, when it was described to me that when America was created, the idea was that the states would like kind of literally be like their own like separate entities. Like they were practically individual countries, and then the federal government in America would exist only for the stuff that like everyone super agreed upon, like basically to fuck England. Basically like, hey, we need to be united to stave off England if we're all going to do our own separate independent things. And that is still kind of, that is the bones of our model of government, and why it is just riddled with inefficiencies and corruption, because it does not serve, like, it is so, it was alien almost immediately to what like America would grow into.
It's the same thing as evolution. Like when people talk about like, oh, it's a beautiful creation, like isn't everything so beautiful and perfect? And it's like, nah, this shit sucks a lot of the time. Like we get cancer
just happens
all
this way.
the time. Like we choke because our air tube and our food tube are the same thing. Like, yeah, no, it's fucked. It just sure, just because it kind of works and like is iterative on itself, like that's something, but it's not, doesn't mean it's a flawless system that is this beautiful, perfect thing. Yeah, no, for me it was AP US history when we started talking about John Marshall, who was kind of like the Supreme Court for like 40 years. He was literally a Federalist, and he was in the Supreme Court for decades after the Federalist Party had no remaining members, like after it died. And he was the only like important political figure on the Supreme Court, and basically established the entire precedent of the judicial branch of the United States as a completely irrelevant political figure who had no party, no backing, no nothing. He was just a dude.
He's just like, I want it to be this way. I'm going to make it that way.
I'm going to make it so that when we interpret laws, that's the fucking law. Like, lawmakers be damned. We're the ones that are really making it happen. Like, yeah. It's crazy shit, fam.
Something that brings my socialist brain, there we go, my socialist brained body joy, though. SAG of America workers successfully voted to unionize. I think they were like the 4th or 5th union in the video games industry right now. And yeah, no, I find this kind of fascinating because like if y'all dig into the history of Sega as a company, deeply sketchy since like its inception.
Any company that makes Sonic the Hedgehog can't have clean hands.
I think the company was originally created, Sega Sammy was originally created to get slot machines on GI international bases so that they could rip off American soldiers.
Nice.
Yeah, and so like the fact that they would create a union, that's a W, like just in the history of that. Well, period, but also in the face of the history of it. But then also a lot of Sega published games, weird conservative bend to them that if American, like the American branch of that is like, no, we want a union. That is, God, the internal politics of that company are deeply fascinating to me.
Yeah. And I'll never understand it.
No.
I don't even know. Yeah. I don't even know how that works with like a multinational company, and then like workers in one country unionize, and I guess in another one they don't. And I don't know, man. Fucking weird shit.
I want to believe that on some level, maybe it's more efficient actually if like, oh, hey, we need like the Americans to do something. We don't have to like talk to we just have to talk to the American union rep now. Like that is, maybe this is expediting things. I don't know. I hope so. Something that is deeply funny and adjacent to this, though. Sonic's dad, Yuji Naka, was formerly convicted of insider trading. He received a suspended sentence, but owes $1 million+ in fines.
Was he trading like Sonic stock? Like, what kind of insider trading was the creator of Sonic doing?
He made the game Ball and Wonder World.
He's the Ball and Wonder World guy?
Yep.
Wow, I didn't know that.
His career is ending with a weird whimper. He made that game for Square Enix, and while he was there, had access to information of like what development teams were working on which projects before that was made public. And then so he invested in Square Enix in a coordinated fashion around that information. Like, oh, this is when the company is announcing that like this highly profiled team is working on this highly profiled project. He put a bunch of money like into Square Enix stock shortly before that went live, and then pulled out like immediately after that information went public, and the stock spiked. It was something to that effect, I believe.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
He did the GTA thing where you fucking invest in a company and then assassinate the CEO of a rival company and watch your stock just explode. Like, it's fucking lit. I love it. Wait, so fucking hold on. He did Bale in Wonder World.
Yeah.
How? How did
what
that
the hell
happen?
is it? What is that?
Did you never see that shit? Like even the Donkey video or anything?
No.
Like it's a fever dream bad video game. Like a horrendous game, like barely even qualifying as a game, sold as a AAA title for full price.
Ooh.
And it like is barely a video game. Like that blows me away that someone who could have actually been like a video game, I don't know, godfather.
No, a genuine pioneer, arguably.
Damn.
Andrew, you've seen this. You've seen Ball and Wonder.
I haven't.
Seen this.
I mean, I Googled it as soon as you said it. I spelled it wrong.
The dude with the hat. And then there's the one farmer and they do the dance. Like there's dance breaks every level or something. It's really, really bad. Like, I think they started trying to give it away for free. And also, it's not like he's like senile. Like, he's 57.
Yeah.
So, like, what? I thought that was going to be the insider trading when you first brought up Bale in Wonder World. It's like, he knew his game was going to be bad, so he shorted Square Enix stock before the game released.
Ryan, you mentioned them trying to give it away for free. On Steam currently, still $39.99.
Oof.
And a charitably mixed reviews with 260 reviews in.
I don't think it gets worse than mixed on Steam, if I'm not mistaken. I don't remember. I think mixed might just be the low watermark.
Oh, no.
So I looked up the IGN review video, just, looking at it on mute, trying to figure out. I've never seen any of this shit before. But the funniest thing is that this YouTube video has 4 sections. Intro, story. The longest one by far is costumes. And then conclusion.
It's like a weird game where, like, depending on your costume, you get power. It's kind of, I think it's a Mario Odyssey ripoff a little bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
That like you get different power-ups based on the costume and stuff like that. So I don't know if that's what it is. That was what Donkey spent a lot of time on, is just how worthless most of the costumes were and how they were genuinely like completely ineffective at altering the gameplay in any significant way whatsoever. So
credit to IGN. One of the rare instances where you got to give it to them. They gave Ball and Wonder World the lowest score I've ever seen IGN give a game.
They gave Gollum the same score.
They gave Gollum a 4?
Yeah.
Gollum's pretty rough too.
Gollum's also not even really a video game. Like
IGN, hey, if you want a series where a couple of socialist bros play through your lowest scored games, we're available. We're down.
Are we available to spend who knows how many hours playing bad video games?
I don't have enough time to play the video games I want to play. I'm not playing Gollum.
Not even for money. And how much money to get you to play Gollum?
Is this a thing I'm doing in my free time, or is this my new job?
Side hustle. Side hustle.
Side hustle. $500
Flat?
to play Gollum.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Time to beat.
I'm sure it's probably only like 20 hours, right?
Around 20 hours.
Oh shit.
Okay. IGN, give us $500 and Andrew will play Gollum.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Use that to buy real video games.
Also socialist brain stuff. SAG-AFTRA is on strike. Key issues center on how actor likenesses will be used and retained, and just like with the writer's strike, residuals and payment models for streaming projects. Am I oversimplifying that, or yeah, is that why the actors are on strike?
I think it's mostly residuals, and then I think nowadays everyone's realized that AI is such a touch issue that like they can really hammer on AI stuff because it scares everyone.
Sidetracking immediately. Do you guys feel like AI is replacing like algorithm as a buzzword? Like instead of people throwing it, well, we got an algorithm for that. We got an AI for that. Like that's. I mean,
Yeah.
I think AI is starting to lose meaning and definition.
I think it definitely is.
Yeah.
No.
All you have to do is say, like, you can do some basic shit. Like, even using ChatGPT, for example, and, like, if you then slap, like, an AI on it in the corporate world, it's like, ooh, fancy. We love it.
Look at how efficient this is.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense on the money end, but look at how efficient and bad it is.
It's math.
This bad boy can fit so much revenue downturns in it.
What do you mean?
Okay, So I'm sorry. I know you're gonna. Don't mean to interrupt. Just gonna ask. Legitimate business venture. What if we put AI on the blockchain?
I think my admittedly mediocre at best understanding of those two technologies, I feel as though they are incongruent.
Lucas, you worked for a blockchain company in college.
Yeah, they're incongruent. Like the nature of the blockchain, separating data modules and securing them so that they are not able to be drawn upon like most large language AI models would need to incorporate that data. I don't believe there is overlap there. That being said, venture capitalists don't know that. I don't know if venture capitalists know anything, but especially not that. So, Andrew, I can come in hot with a pitch deck if you're willing to be the face of this endeavor.
All we would have to do is just make it Bored Ape style and just have a bunch of different AI trading cards. Like, oh, this one's fucking
This novel AI.
It's HAL 3000. Ooh, oh, this one's fucking God. What is Terminator? What's Terminator? Fucking
T1000.
T1000.
Oh no, I was gonna say Skynet.
Okay.
I guess they're kind of artificial intelligences in a way, right?
Right.
Skynet is an AI.
Yeah, Skynet's actual AI in the way that we think of it. But like, I guess a robot that's sentient is AI, right?
It's artificially intelligent.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of, there is an AI somewhere buried in there in the circuits.
This is a personal gripe, but due to my life circumstances, I am weirdly adjacent to a lot of people defending AI. And the fact that the people on the AI end think they can get away with just saying, don't worry, guys, it's not going to be Skynet. As though that's like the only actual legitimate issue people have with AI technology and how it's being incorporated across a lot of industry is just fucking laughable.
I mean, yeah, I know that like the whole overblown, like, the robots are going to take over the world thing is, one of those fears with AI. they're not offering any safeguards against that either. They're just saying, don't worry about it.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean,
It's like, hey, you go to the bank, you say, I want to invest my money. Is there any risk with this thing that you're going to put my money in? No. Don't worry. We're not going to use it to go commit assassinations in the Middle East. Well, that's bad too. I was mostly worried that I was going to lose my money, but now I'm also worried about this thing that you're not guaranteeing you're not going to do.
It's just responding to like a softball criticism, knowing that you can get away with it. Like,
no, literal straw man argument. Completely.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, but there are crazy people out there that do, like, that's their main gripe, is they're like, holy shit, we're all going to get fucking nuked by an AI. And it's like, okay, sure, you can be scared of that, I guess, but like, nah, there's like real world consequences happening right now. Like, it's like someone when they invented cars being like, yeah, but what happens when the fucking gas pedal gets stuck to the fucking floor and we all drive off a cliff and die? And it's like,
we haven't invented seatbelts yet. That's a big problem.
I don't think it's going to be until like the 70s that seatbelts start coming around. So like, I got big problems with this. I don't know.
No, you're not listening. Like, if there were fewer horses, that means there's less horse shit to make manure to fertilize our crops, and we're all gonna starve. What don't you get about that?
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I was once again thinking about today when I was at the gym and I was just having dumb gym blank brain thoughts about how there were people that were born before cars were invented that died after we put someone on the moon. And it's just, that's insane. That's crazy.
People, never mind. No, there's probably not. Who's the current oldest person in the world?
I think I saw 112 somewhere.
Oh, is that it? Because I know there's been like 120 people.
Oh, shit.
Oh no, Lucille Randon. She died in January 2023. She was 118.
Damn it.
Damn.
She was almost born before the Wright brothers flew a plane the first time. Like, there
was that 1903?
Yeah, it was 1903, and she was born in 1904.
Years ago.
She was right after they flew the first plane. Like, I don't know. Yeah, Jean Calment is the actual oldest person to be independently verified, 122 years old. She died in 97. But I think there was like a conspiracy theory that her daughter just took her identity when she died and then lived to be like 100 or something like that. I don't remember if there's any actual legitimacy to that, but it's like one of the theories because there was like a pension thing involved and all this stuff. So,
ooh, drama.
Yeah, someone should make a podcast about that.
I'd listen to that. I'd listen to that if that had a soft piano intro to set the mood just right.
Yeah.
Speaking of moods, what I alluded to earlier, the mood, the vibes on Blue Sky, not great the past couple days. Turns out the platform didn't have any safeguards in place to prevent people from having slurs in their username.
Classic.
So a lot of bad actors added slurs to their username. Blue Sky executives really did not offer much of an apology or immediately implemented some safeguards.
They did promise to immediately remove all mentions of the word cracker.
Oh.
Priority number one. I mean, we can't have... There's kids on Blue Sky. Probably not. I don't know. Are there?
God, I hope not. I hope not. The worst slurs are the ones you can say without any hesitation on a podcast that's going to be available to the public. Those are the ones you got to get after first.
Yeah.
I mean, there are people out there that will say very, very bad slurs without hesitation.
That is a complicated The Age of Louis C.K. bit. Yes, Ryan.
Yeah, that was a Louis C.K. No, I think that was a pretty fine bit.
Oh, no, more that Louis C.K. has become more complicated.
Right, it's complicated that Louis C.K. is a piece of shit. Right. But like the bit itself, I feel like aged fine. I feel like a lot of Louis C.K.'s bits that aren't focused on masturbation, even though he was edgy, aged okay. Like, but yeah. There are some that do involve masturbation, and I think just by default didn't age well, regardless of how good, quote unquote, they were.
God, it's a good joke in his TV show, but it's terrible now. There's a joke in the Louis C.K. show where he goes on Fox News to defend masturbation.
I remember that, yeah.
And then it's just like the news, like bottom header of Louis C.K. masturbator.
Yeah, just at the bottom. No, that was gold.
Fuck.
But it didn't age well because I remember the punchline, because it was like a woman who was like being like, but our families and protecting our kids and blah blah blah. And at the end, I think it ended with him being like, I'm gonna masturbate to you later or something like. So yeah, I actually don't think it aged very well considering.
No. Anyway, yeah, I'm still enjoying my time on Blue Sky. Digging the vibes, loving. Not these specific vibes, but it's I don't know. It's more of a hangout space than what Twitter has turned into, and that's largely because brands, other corporate stuff isn't there yet. I don't know, Ryan, how's your Threads excursion going?
I haven't opened the app since I signed up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no one's on it. There's nothing to do there.
Would it behoove me to like lock down Lucas DeRuyter on Threads and then never use it? Probably. Fuck. Okay.
I don't know. Is it a problem when it's like Lucas DeRuyter or Lucas _DeRuyter? Is that bad for you professionally?
No.
Do you think there's trolls out there that are going to explicitly try to register every single Lucas DeRuyter variant? I know you've got some haters out there.
I don't know. Like, that's the thing. I don't know if I want to be like, if I like have that fear legitimately. Am I being self-aggrandizing or am I being cautious? Like, that's where I'm at. I got to ponder that one. I got to think that one over.
That's fair.
Brian, have you seen any of the Las Vegas Sphere memes?
Yeah.
Is that real? Is that
the orb? Have
the
you seen the orb on TikTok? I think my favorite was what's the game with the three? Is it 3-card Monty? Is that what it's called? Like the cups, and you have to just like figure out which one it's under.
Yeah,
that one was good. And he's just like, "Oh, you are running an illegal game. Like, you must surrender to the orb." And then he's just like, "Oh, but also it is under the left cup." And then, damn, it wasn't double or nothing. Like. Yeah. I'm a fan of the orb.
My favorite is just when they made it a eye.
Yeah.
It was just a giant eye in downtown Las Vegas.
Right. And then they had reactionaries being like, "Oh my God, look at this golf course. It's one of the most expensive golf courses in the country. And now you have to see this giant eye in the background." And everyone's like, I could not fucking care less. Like, buddy, that's good.
Buddy, you are... Not to speak on behalf of all golf, you are a poser ass if you're like, "Oh, the views on this golf course." Nah, dude, dial in. Focus on hitting par. Come on.
If you're not a scratch golfer, you're not allowed to care about the views.
Oh, is this some best ball shit? You pay for one of the most expensive golf courses in the country and you're playing best ball? Bush League.
Yeah. No, it is golden. What's it called? The prototype was actually in Burbank by the airport.
Oh shit.
Yeah, it kept breaking apart. Like it kept blowing the covering off in the winds and everything, and it would just look like a tattered mess of a dome thing. But I guess they figured it out, or maybe they didn't, and it's all gonna fall apart next time Vegas gets any sort of weather whatsoever, which I know is not common. So, yeah.
Maybe increasingly with climate change. We'll see.
Yeah, Vegas just becomes Florida. Torrential downpours and flooding and everything.
Just heinous humidity.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. If all that sand around Vegas were wet, that would be
it's called mud, Lucas.
Oh. I don't think it would be wet. It wouldn't be sand anymore.
I don't like it. I don't like it. Um, Andrew, how's Zelda going?
Zelda is good as
Okay.
always. I
Yeah.
think I'm just south of 100 hours. I might have like 95 in. Um, I've been ready to go face Ganon for a while, but then just have been trying to find excuses not to. Been doing a bunch of random side quests. I finally did the stuff in Hateno Village, which was like several hours of side quests just so that I could put my hood down because I thought that looked cooler.
It does look cooler.
It does look cooler. I've been like finally upgrading my gear. I went 90 hours of gameplay without upgrading my gear at all. Um, I got all the sages. You were right. The Minoru dungeon stuff was definitely the coolest.
Yeah.
Also a lot longer than the rest of them. So that was cool.
I guess there are like two locations. Yeah, three locations you have to hit up for that one.
You have to do the stuff in Faron, like with the lightning stuff. Then you have to get to that dragon head isle with the storms going on and do all that. That's a whole thing. Then you have to go underground and you have to do the dungeon stuff to get the robot put together. And then you have to walk the robot across the depths to then do that boss fight. So yeah, it was a while. Yeah. Hanging out with my dragon girlfriend.
I was gonna say, I asked you if how's Zelda doing, or something to that effect. I think being a dragon would hurt. It looked like becoming a dragon hurts.
Not fun.
No.
It was a pretty gut punch cutscene.
Great cutscene. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, really good cutscene. Yeah, every time I see the light dragon, I'm just like, God damn it. That fucking sucks.
Well, that's a shame.
Why did Zelda become a dragon?
Because it was the only way she could travel through time.
She didn't really travel through time. She just was like, how do I get to 10,000 years from now? It's like, no, you can't travel. You just have to find a way to live that long. You could become a dragon.
Dragons don't die. So, yeah.
I'll do that.
Easy.
Again, guys, these are writers. They can do whatever they want. Like, yeah, sure, we can legitimize it, but also, wow, that sounds dumb.
No, right. This is wildly telegraphed. Like, this was by cutscene 3 altogether. They were like,
and it's like, I think that's what's going on here. And then, yeah. This was not like a, how do I do that? Like, well, there's one thing you can do. Become a dragon.
To paraphrase, I mean, yeah, like one way to get to the future would be to turn into a dragon because they live forever, but you wouldn't want to do that unless things got really bad. And then things got really bad.
Wow.
Yeah, the Hateno Village side quest is interesting to me. I did most of that on a plane. I did all of that on a plane ride, and like that might be the best like undocked playing Tears of the Kingdom side quest to do, because that is exactly small scale enough that good use of my time on a plane.
I have played the overwhelming majority of this game in handheld mode.
Oh.
I very rarely use my Switch in docked mode.
Oh.
I kind of just plug it in to charge it. I've probably played like 5 to 10 hours of this in docked mode on the TV. And the rest of it, like I will play in handheld mode in front of my television.
With the TV off.
With the TV off. I like
fair.
it. I like it.
I just think it's neat.
Basically. Is it worse? Yes, in every single way. I will continue to do so.
Completely valid. As I said previously, I beat Tears of the Kingdom a couple weeks ago. We'll probably come back to that eventually, finish up all of the shrines, and say that is done for me. But yeah, I am missing it as I play Final Fantasy 16.
Ooh. Final Fantasy 16 not doing well.
Not doing it for you.
So, like, a bit of its perspective, a bit of it is this is the game I played immediately after Tears of the Kingdom, just an all-around steak dinner of a video game. But yeah, no, this game is so wildly inconsistent in quality that it is kind of baffling, and I'm having more fun trying to piece together what the production of this must have looked like than like actually playing the game. To give it a compliment, the art direction on this, the world building, phenomenal. The little details of like there is a design of a faction of people in this game. They are religious zealots, a country of religious zealots who were previously in northern territories, but due to whatever circumstances, a couple of wars, like encroaching blight, whatever, they have to move.
2 tree wars.
Pretty much 2 tree wars. They end up like in a volcanic, like territory. They end up in a very hot, very arid region. And then you see like the characters that belong to this faction, and they're slaves. The people they own are like dressed temperature appropriately. But then like the like old guard, the I forget what the like exact term is, like whatever, like patriarchal religious figure and like his inner circle. No, they're still wearing like the very heavy, like dark clothes, like fur-lined ceremonial robes, ceremonial garb, because yeah, that's like their culture. Like they wouldn't, no, these are the holy garments. We can't change these, even as they are now no longer practical for the region they're in whatsoever. Like that is interesting and like good writing, good art direction. But the themes of Final Fantasy 16 as a whole are slavery bad. And that is oh my god.
I'm glad someone was finally brave enough to say it.
That is such a bummer, and it no, okay, yeah, slavery is bad. I will agree on that. But like the actual
fucking wow, what a hero.
The actual writing and a lot of the like interpersonal dialogue and writing is so lacking that I am frustrated, especially with the now action-focused gameplay being I'm by no means like an action gameplay like pervert, but it's very mediocre.
Pervert. What's an action gameplay pervert look like, Lucas? I want you to walk us through that.
I know exactly what you mean by that, but I do also want to hear you explain it.
I know what an action gameplay fanatic might look like. I don't know what an action gameplay pervert would look like.
I have an action gameplay pervert has platinumed every Devil May Cry game.
Damn.
They really love the kinds of games where you can toss a guy into the sky and then hit him a bunch of times before then slamming him into the ground.
The Bayonetta games are some of their favorite games, not for the gay shit, but because of the combat, because of the gameplay.
Wait, isn't Bayonetta? I haven't played any of those games, but like I know from you, first 2 games, gay shit. Third game, yeah. Straight shit, right?
Terrible. Hated it.
It's bad. It's a bad game.
I wrote a whole article about how that game, like, wow, this is validating a lot of insecurities I have about my life and sexuality. I don't like it. No, because everyone is cool and queer and kinky, and then they're young, and then they settle into a heteronormative monogamous relationship and have a kid, and then die because they're boring.
That's what stability looks like. It's called personal growth. Yeah, we all are gay when we're young. And then we realize that that's not okay. And God doesn't like that. And we marry someone and we live in a loveless marriage and have kids and then resent each other after like 5 years. And then we die one day and it's fine.
Have you ever come across a real person like that where they're like, yeah, everyone's gay when they're young and then they get it together?
Not when they're young, but I told you about one of my homophobic friends who talked about how we all have gay thoughts. and I was like, I don't know. I didn't want to burst this bubble really, but I was just kind of like, oh, do you think everyone has gay thoughts? Like, oh, all right. Interesting.
Guess
I'm
I'm the
learning a
weird
lot.
one here.
Yeah, I feel like I'm learning a lot about you.
Hey man, maybe you should just introspect a little bit more.
Just let it go, man. Kiss who you want to kiss. Maybe you'll be happier. You won't be so angry at people. It'll be good.
Well, I guess I can say that to Final Fantasy 16's credit. It has not taken something, a piece of media that I love and is maybe foundational to my identity, and warped it into something adverse, antithetical to my identity. But yeah, no, it very mediocre so far. We got a gay Bahamut, though. They made the dragon gay, and I'm very okay with that.
They made the dragon gay.
Yes.
Do the summons have lines of dialogue? How is he gay?
In this game, the humans turn into the summons. They're called dominants,
okay.
which has made
That
me
explains
think
everything.
yes.
Yeah, no, Andrew, fucking duh.
Yeah, the humans called dominants turn into the summons, which has made me like consider the actual like sexual leanings of Final Fantasy summons, and if anyone wants to pay me to write about that, I will do so gleefully. But no, the guy who turns into Bahamut is a gay man.
So, but what if turning into Bahamut makes you not
him
gay
straight
anymore? Yeah, because he's good now.
I mean, listen.
Is this Bahamut stronger than Donald Duck?
That is a good question.
So that's what you used 10 minutes of your Twitter time to look at my tweet where I was raising this question. Thank you, Andrew. Couldn't help but notice you didn't like it, but thank you, Andrew.
I didn't see your tweet about it. I saw someone else tweet about it. I would have liked yours if I would have seen it, but again, not on Twitter.
Elon Musk is suppressing me and the truth. Okay.
Yeah, no, and then you should tell Elon that so he can comment concerning.
Yeah.
Okay, so to get into Final Fantasy weird lore for a second, there's an attack in Final Fantasy called Zeta Flare that was conceived to end the original run of Final Fantasy 14. Like, that is the in-universe event that like reset the world and allowed them to make the much better video game Final Fantasy 14. That game's Bahamut for 2 years was the only character that could do that attack because it was so powerful. Then 2 years later in 2012, a character in Bravely Default, one of the best video games and maybe my favorite video games of all time, could use the Zeta Flare attack. Then in Kingdom Hearts 3, Donald Duck uses Zeta Flare. And then in Final Fantasy 16, this version of Bahamut, after doping, basically, after doing a bunch of metabolic steroids, does Zeta Flare. So now there are 4 characters confirmed strong enough to use Zeta Flare in the extended Final Fantasy Square Enix canon.
So is Zeta Flare a physical move? I feel like I thought it was like a spiritual thing, you know, where it's not, but no, it's like directly tied to your physical strength if you can perform it.
Yeah, how powerful? It's a magic attack.
It's what level
you said he used roids.
It's a number value.
So basically, he basically just like eats a magic crystal, like a mother crystal. That's like that. Yeah. Oh, this is supplying energy for like an entire nation, and then he's able to
say no more.
I thought that he was shooting Tren into his ass, and then like that let him do the Zeta Flare, and I was like, wait, it's tied directly to your musculature.
The fantasy equivalent of that, yes.
The fantasy equivalent. Now I get it. For a second there, I thought he was just bodybuilding, and then he was like, all right, I feel like I can do this now.
I mean, you know, he kept to his routine, kept to his schedule, got Mega Flare down, then like, you know, got into bulking and cutting, like Giga Flare, no problem. You know, started dabbling with the roids, Terra Flare coming in, and then really all out with the Zeta Flare.
It's what's the fucking ice skating movie with Will
Blades
Ferrell?
Of Glory.
Yeah, Blades of Glory, the Iron Locust or whatever. Mm-hmm. They gotta just fucking bulk up so they can do this move that will kill you if you're not strong enough to perform it. Like 100% death rate. Yeah.
No, only when it was a man and a woman, though. If it's two men doing it, it's more natural.
Yeah, then it'll be totally fine, except for the fact that the man is what 100 pounds heavier than the woman skater would be in that scenario, so it makes zero sense. Yeah.
I've also been watching the animated series, My Adventures with Superman. So fucking weird that this is on Adult Swim. This is just a kid show. I don't.
Oh, it's a full-blown kids show? I thought it was like, kind of teeny, but it's like what's the Star Wars Clone Wars type shit, where it's like, it's for kids, but like adults can get a lot out of it, blah, 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 blah.
This is softer, I think, than Clone Wars.
It's like an honest to God kid show.
There's some blood, like a little bit, like Superman gets roughed up a little bit, but like so far, no adult situations whatsoever.
Like this isn't one of those Invincible scenarios where episode 4, he's gonna snap Zod's neck and his vertebrae are gonna pop out of his neck.
Invincible was episode 1.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
What if they're in for the long con with My Adventures with Superman?
They want to wait until only the kids are left, so then they can just fuck them up forever.
Exactly, just ruin their entire existence.
I would be down for that. Also, thank you, Ryan, for jogging this memory. There's an Invincible reference in Final Fantasy 16.
Oh.
And I'm just like, what the fuck are we doing here?
What was the reference?
Think, Mark, think.
Ah, the good one. The classic meme. And this game came out like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Nailing it. You're right there. You're right on the peak of that meme. Everyone's using it. It's all over the place.
That's a 2-year-old meme.
Yeah.
That meme is so old that people have forgotten that the show is even around.
I mean, it's a problem with entertainment. Like, if you want to be relevant and like be on time, you gotta turn this shit around. Like,
right? You have to make the meme. You have to be the meme,
or be South Park and fucking kill yourselves making an episode week by week. Like, it's impossible.
They've actually been referenced a lot in some of the discourse I've seen about some of these union negotiations and that production not being
how could it be? Like, it's physically impossible the way that they make their stuff. Like,
and then people talking like, oh well, why would Parker and Stone not be? And it's like, well, one, because they're very obviously libertarians and have been for a while, and also they got everything they could have ever wanted out of their career at 24, and it's been gravy after that. Ryan, what have you been checking out, if you've been checking out anything?
Yeah, we watched 2009 The Watchmen.
Ooh.
Because I was like, hey, you know what, Angel, our next show, because we just finished The Bear season 2. That's another thing. Bear's fucking great, you guys. Everyone should be watching The Bear.
Yeah, I should probably watch The Bear.
Yeah, you would like The Bear for 100%.
I've lived The Bear.
Yeah, Lucas has lived The Bear. He's worked at a restaurant in Chicago. So we finished The Bear, and I was like, we need a new show. And then I was like, you remember, like, no one ever talks about it because it only did one season and then completely dipped. But Damon Lindelof's Watchmen show on HBO was fucking really good. Like, I really liked it beginning to end. And then I was like, all right, let's do it. And we like booted up Max. Fucking Max. Don't get me started. And then I searched Watchmen. Max. Yeah, I'll just keep calling it that forever. I searched Watchmen, and it's just like, oh yeah, here we go. And then it's like, oh wait, the movie. And then I was thinking back to the show, and I was like, there's probably stuff in the show that would be better if you watched the movie. So then, we strapped in for the 2-hour, 40-minute long, fucking not Michael Bay. Why can't I remember
Snyder
his name?
Cut?
Yeah, Zack Snyder, Watchmen show movie, which is. It's an interesting movie. That's for sure.
Did Angel lose her interest in watching that show after seeing the movie?
I don't think so. But I don't think she was a big fan of the movie, and it's hard to blame her. Like, it's very uneven. I think it has a lot there, but it's very fucking flawed, and the pacing is really weird, and there are moments that are genuine, like, pull your hair out, what the fuck moments. So
the first time, when you're a teenager and you're like getting into these like outlets, these like personalities on the internet, And like you have a crystallizing moment of, oh wait, the cracks are showing here. This person is maybe an idiot, and maybe I don't want to like take their opinion too seriously. For me, that was someone, I forget their name, on SourceFed, talking about like, because Zack Snyder just gotten signed on to do a bunch of the DC Extended Universe, and someone was very affectionately talking about him like, well, he's the guy who made the Unmakeable movie. He made The Watchmen, and that's is it? I don't know,
It is
Ryan.
genuinely unmakeable based on the source material from like every standpoint.
Right.
Like it is crazy that they were even able to get a coherent narrative into that movie. Like at points, the fucking author of the graphic novel on purpose was like putting things in there so that they couldn't make a movie out of it. Like he said that in interviews.
Mhm.
He was like, I fucking hate like media, like movies and TV shows made about comic books. So I tried to make my comic book really hard for them to make a movie out of. And yeah, I don't think he succeeded, but I guess if you count that as like a feather in his cap, like
Ryan, do you think the scene where they have sex in the helicopter is people have tried to reclaim that as parody? Is it such, or is that just a bad sex scene in a movie?
It's a really weird sex scene in the movie. No, I don't.
No,
think
but
that
dude,
could
when she
possibly be a parody.
she hits the flamethrower button or whatever.
Yeah, no, they shoot out a jet of flame, and it's not a helicopter; it's a fucking giant owl
Right.
hovercraft. Like, yeah, so much of Night Owl is direct parody.
Yeah.
So, like, I think him having ED in the scene previous where he couldn't get it up, that's parody of like Batman and that whole character shtick. But like, yeah, the sex scene, they're just full blown like naked butts thrusting into each other for like 30 seconds. Like it's kind of, I don't think it could be parody because it's not, I don't know. It reminds me of the fucking Always Sunny bit where they're like, we showed it, all of it, full penetration. Like they go out, you pound some bad guys' skulls, and then back to the banging. Like it's just like, I don't know. It's unsettling. That's for sure. So, yeah, I don't know. The show's really good.
Huh.
I'm very excited to rewatch it, and especially with The Watchmen being kind of fresh.
The
like, some of the stuff going on there.
The show is a continuation of the comic lore, though, correct?
Yeah, it's okay. More of a direct response to the comics, but not using any of the storylines from the comics. It's taking place in the future.
Right.
So.
Huh.
Yeah.
Neat. Anything we can talk about in the group chat? We're kind of in like the dog days of summer now, where there's not a lot happening outside of summer.
Are y'all doing Barbenheimer?
I'm not because I'm out of the country, but
oh,
I will be watching Barbie and Oppenheimer when we get back. That's for sure.
I'm calling it now. Barbie winning the weekend, Oppenheimer winning the Oscar.
You think Barbie's going to outperform Oppenheimer? That'll be interesting.
That marketing campaign, that opening weekend, gonna do gangbusters, I think. But
it's definitely a more accessible movie. Like everyone's going into Oppenheimer knowing this movie's going to be a bummer. Like it's probably going to be really good, but a bummer. I don't know. I didn't see Tenet. I don't know. Like Tenet was supposed to be kind of mid, but
we're seeing Tenet on Thursday.
Ooh,
really?
Yeah.
You found a theatrical showing?
Yeah, we found a real theater.
Nice.
Tenet's still 365 million, but it was his most expensive movie, so it might not. Might not have broken even. He has been on kind of a downward swing. Yeah, that's true too. Wow. He has been on kind of a downward swing. Like Interstellar was smaller than Inception, was smaller than Dunkirk, or Dunkirk was smaller than Interstellar. I keep fucking it up.
Yeah. He keeps breaking literally invaluable IMAX cameras. Like eventually they gotta like limit him somehow.
They're not invaluable insofar as
Chris Nolan drop an actual nuke? Did he set off a nuclear bomb in the desert and film it?
People definitely don't understand the difference between CGI and like visual effects.
Right.
Like, they do think that yes, there was a third Trinity test, and it was on this film set of Oppenheimer. which I don't think there's been. When was the last time there was an above ground nuclear test? Like, wasn't it like 30 years ago or something?
Yeah,
That we
that's.
know
I mean, you
about.
say that, but like saying it was like 30 years ago, that's the 1990s. When I talk to people about, yeah, when did they do the nuclear testing? Most people say they stopped doing it in like the 50s, which isn't true.
No.
They set those bombs off in the desert for fucking decades.
You know,
Um,
I don't. The Comprehensive Nuclear Test Ban Treaty went into place in '96, which is just no more nuclear explosions at all. Doesn't matter if it's above ground, below ground, in the ocean, nothing. You cannot blow up a nuclear bomb ever again. So there hasn't been, in theory, a nuclear explosion in 30 years or so.
1992
Yeah,
was the
that
last time
was
the
last
US
US
conducted
one.
yeah.
Yeah.
last Soviet test,
They carried out
1990.
1,032 nuclear tests. And
And
that was just the United States.
the Bikini Atoll,
Ooh.
baby.
SpongeBob.
India, 1998.
Oh, after the ban? Damn.
I think that was
25
their
years.
first bomb, though. I think that's when they got it.
No, it looks like 1974.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah, they had one.
Pakistan, 98.
98,
Oh, North
yeah.
Korea.
Yeah,
Well,
but they
That's
Yeah.
not confirmed. Like,
Right, exactly.
They probably, but not confirmed.
North Korea, 2017.
There you go.
I don't think that was confirmed. That's like a probable, but yeah.
No idea.
Oh, there. Okay, yeah. Boy, the phrase self-designated hydrogen bomb doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
Self-designated is good stuff. Yeah. No, I don't think the US is going to be carrying out any or allowing a film crew to detonate a nuclear bomb just so they can get footage, which exists, by the way, like nuclear test footage.
Oh my!
Very
Did you
much
guys?
exists.
Did you guys see that? Did you guys see that weird trend on the internet for a minute about nuclear weapons deniers apparently existing?
That's hilarious.
What?
Yeah.
Like the concept of mutually assured destruction is a farce, and
Yes.
like
Yeah.
that it's all invented by Big Brother to keep down. It honestly holds more water than like flat Earth, for example, or
Right.
like fucking moon landing deniers. Even like there's an actual motive. Like maybe I just watched Watchmen, so that's in my head now. But like yeah, like there's a real world peace type motive to making up nuclear weapons.
It seemed like a big part of the crux of their argument is that footage that people have of nuclear test sites, and we've all seen it, right? Of like the house just getting torn apart and like the interiority of what that does to Well, if the nuke just wiped everything off the Earth in whatever mile radius, how'd they get the tape back? How'd they get the tape back to see that? That has to be fake.
That's the crux of the argument. God damn it, people.
There's holes in the ground.
I'm so much better at this than they are. Like, should I become a conspiracy theorist? It took me like an hour to find something better that holds more water than that. Like, how'd they get the tape back? What the fuck are you talking about? Shit's so easy. We have long lenses. We have a million things. Like, god damn it. That's like the moon landing deniers, and then they focus on like the fact that the flag was waving, and it's like, bro, that's small. That's small potatoes, man. There's shit out there that I could see you pointing to that would not be nearly as insane.
Yeah, I mean, long lenses is just the short end of it. Like, you could just build a big concrete box around a camera, like, because those houses that are being flattened are really far away. They're not in the incinerated part of the explosion. They're just in the shockwave part. You build something that would withstand the shockwave, and you're good to go.
Yeah, people be dumb. People be real dumb.
And
also, like, what do they say to Hiroshima and Nagasaki? What's that?
I mean, probably the same thing the Holocaust deniers say, you know? not real.
I feel like there's not many full-blown Holocaust. Like, I feel like they all are like, it's overstated. It wasn't, but like, I feel like most, like 90% of Holocaust deniers that I've ever seen are like, yeah, I mean, there was definitely Jewish people executed at camps operated by the Nazis. Like, they're just like, it was overstated, and it was mostly like Eastern Europeans. It wasn't Jewish, like specifically Jewish, blah blah blah, that type of shit.
The most effective, which is to say despicable Holocaust denial minimization rhetoric I've ever seen is just, like, oh well, they couldn't possibly have killed that many people in that small a time. This has to be made up on some level, and that's
the numbers are overstated. Like, it's like, instead of 5 million, it was 100,000. It's like, okay, but also
still though,
yeah,
like
even in your best case scenario, which is wackadoodle, that's pretty fucking rough, man. That's pretty impossibly rough. But yeah, no, like, what would they say? Hiroshima and Nagasaki, would they just say it was like conventional bombing that then we pretended was a nuke?
I just think that there's a lot of people that say to anything that if they weren't there, there's no proof it didn't happen. They haven't been there. I mean, they would probably say like, but Hiroshima and Nagasaki are cities that exist today.
Yeah, that's
they were rebuilt. Yeah,
the US did that because we're greedy capitalists and we didn't want to destroy these urban centers that could create financial value for us over the next few years when we occupied Japan. We had a very specific strategy for leaving those cities livable so that they wouldn't be forever tarnished and unable to be lived in.
Guys, if we rebuild these cities, we can station U.S. troops there, and then the Sega Sammy company can put slot machines there and to rip off U.S. troops.
And then they'll make Sonic, and then one day the guy who made Sonic is going to make insider trading.
Wonderland.
He's going to make Balan Wonderworld, and then do insider trading.
This is the invisible hand, guys. 101 shit.
This is my conspiracy because it's just real. This is just what really happened.
Jade's grandpa actually was part of the like cleanup crew, and I forget if it was Hiroshima or Nagasaki. Did get thyroid cancer.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Just like everybody else. And then it was just like that was. It's just like people were fucking there. I don't know how these people can deny that possibly happened.
People were on the moon.
At least for nuclear weapons, I like see the psychology at play. I
see the motive.
Right.
Like, that's the thing I struggle with so many of these conspiracy theories, is where I'm like, why? Why though? Like, because you think like, oh, the globalists want to control us, so they claim we're on a globe, whereas a flat world, we wouldn't be as controllable. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, oh, they want to scare us and make it seem like they can land on the moon. They can't land on the moon. They're not that powerful. And it's like, what the fuck?
What about Helen Keller? Do you guys remember when people were saying Helen Keller wasn't real?
Yeah. Definitely.
God. People were having like fucking mental breakdowns and were like, I can't believe you guys fucking believe this shit. There's no possible way. What's wrong with you? You're all so dumb. I can't believe it. What?
Yeah. I just need the motive. And with nuclear weapons, I can see the motive. It's almost like the conspiracy theory that's backwards, where there's just no at all tangible evidence that would make any sense whatsoever. But the motive's there. The motive is 100% lockstep, like makes 100, like it reads totally.
I don't have to do any of the mental work to come to terms with the fact that my life and pretty much all of human achievement incredibly fragile and could go away at a moment's notice. All right, yeah, okay, yeah, sure. Nuclear bombs aren't real.
I mean, it's kind of like an alternate history kind of thing, like that book that I'm reading about like the alien at the bottom of the ocean. If you told me that there was a book out there, or like if I said like, oh, I'm gonna write a book, it's about someone that discovers that nuclear weapons don't exist, and it's all like this weird ploy to keep people in line and thinking that the world's going to end and mutually assured destruction, blah, blah, blah. That sounds like it could be a pretty interesting story. Yeah. It's made up. It's fiction. It's interesting, though.
I could see you folding in if I, once again, now that I've had a few minutes, I'm better at this than them. You'd have to fold in Little Boy and Fat Man. You'd have to fold in the OG nukes as like those were real. And we do have the capability to do bombs like that, but no one does it because of the facade. But and like H bombs, like the actual real nukes that we have now, those aren't real. Like those are made up. Like, because at the end of the day, like little Boy and Fat Man, those were not like in terms of scale that much worse than like conventional type shit. Like the firebombing of Tokyo killed more people than the atomic bombings. Like we had these fire bombs, and it took a little longer, and like it was a campaign over the course of like a week, but like they were as destructive, if not more destructive, than the atomic bombs. So like, I guess if you look at it, like if you're a conspiracy theorist, you could be like, well, yeah, we have these bombs and they're not good, but they can't like destroy the planet like they say they can. Like they're just pretty rough. Like they'll just level a city and with one bomb, which isn't good, but it's not like fundamentally destroying the entirety of human existence. So look, that's me. Look, I'm a believer.
Not to be the guy who listened to one podcast about Scientology and takes it all back to Scientology, but it does sound like it has to be like a weird core belief of a cult that's like, oh yeah, everyone in this cult believes that nuclear bombs don't exist because that's how the cult got started, like preying on people's Cold War fears. And then like that's the inroad to the bunch of like weird, heinous psychological manipulation stuff that just allows this cult to exist and make unprecedented amounts of money.
I feel like nuclear stockpiling and mutually assured destruction has progressed to such a point that like it is kind of like we can't, like, same thing as my simulation theory, where it's like we almost shouldn't live our lives as though like nuclear annihilation could happen at any second, because like sure, but like it doesn't matter. It shouldn't impact your day-to-day life that much, because if it does, it does. Like there's really nothing we can do about it at this point. It is too entrenched. Like there is no way that disarmament is ever going to be a reality. So
the only way that we would disarm ourselves nuclearly would be if we found something else.
Right. Something even
where it's just
stronger.
Not required. Yeah. We figure out light speed transport, so we can just send a rock at light speed to destroy a whole fucking solar system or whatever.
No, exactly. Yeah, people talk about like, nuclear bombs as being like kind of the end point of science being used to like, destroy humanity, like to the application of the scientific method it for a positive in the beginning being turned into like this grotesque military, like political dominance tool. And it's like, nah, there's so much potential out there, man. Like if you look at like what constant acceleration could do, like just being able to constantly accelerate something, even if it's at, just an extra 1 meter per second, like you're just eventually, you're going to approach the speed of light, and this is going to become the most dangerous thing in the universe. Like the fastest man-made object was a manhole cover, right? After on like some explosion that just accidentally like went faster than anything's ever gone before, and we only know it because there was a high-speed camera pointed at that intersection, and we caught like 2 frames of it as it went up, like, and we did the math and we're like, holy shit, dude, that thing was moving. Like if that hit anything, it would be instantly vaporized. Like, goddamn. So you don't fuck around with that.
No. Thrilling and terrifying. And you don't fuck around with the Voluntary Viewing podcast. If you've made it this far, you have to like, comment, and subscribe. Otherwise, you're fucking around, and that's not allowed. Also, you can support us on Patreon and join the likes of the terrific Tiffany Cole, Sucky Badger, and sensual Richard Nixon. Send us your questions, business opportunities, voluntaryviewing@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @V2_podcast. Follow me @Lucas Dreider on Twitter to keep up with all of my writing and other endeavors, as well as my Blue Sky account. If you're on there, still Lucas Dreider over. I'm Lucas Dreider everywhere. You know me. I'm Lucas Dreider everywhere. Thank you all so much for listening, and have a great week. Goodbye.